Explosive story over the weekend. Liz Yore, whose hair is never on fire, hair is on fire. Liz, what is going on? It's a book coming out from a guy that we know has been on the show a bunch. But talk to me about the deeper context of what is coming out now, and we need to come out more with dumping of more files. Liz Yore.
Yeah, as J.D. Vance said, there's a new sheriff in town, and Jorge Bergoglio and the U.S. bishops have walked right into the impenetrable force of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. That's Trump, Vance, Homan, and Bannon. And the receipts are dropping so fast, Steve, it's very difficult to keep on top of it. Let's focus on 2014, when the ecclesial special advisor to Obama, none other than the demon Cardinal Ted McCarrick, was involved in the initial unaccompanied minor children invasion in the southern border. He worked with the Vatican, with the bishops in Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, to flood the southern border with about 60,000 children. We don't know where those 60,000 children went, but it gives me great concern that the mastermind behind this was Obama's ecclesial chief of staff, McCarrick. Imagine a global sexual predator, the architect and managing this entire global mostly from Central America, invasion of unaccompanied minor children. Fast forward, Steve, that happened in 2014. In 2014, the money to the bishops of the United States doubled from 20 million to 45 million so that they could make this happen, this invasion. Now, we are now seeing for the last 20 years over nearly $1 billion going to the U.S. bishops for the unaccompanied minor children program. That doesn't include all the other migration programs that are going on. We are calling for Catholics around the country and frankly around the world are calling for a defunding of all NGO grants over migration. Secondly, now we know, thanks to Mike McCormick's book, The Insurmountable Evil, where he brings the receipts to show that Francis and McCarrick were involved in many of the color revolutions from 2013 on. Also, McCarrick was deeply involved in managing the placement of Jorge Bergoglio as the, purported Pope of the Catholic Church. We now are demanding both DOJ as well as the government of Trump to audit all records relating to what they call the Catholic Spring, which was the color revolution, to displace and get rid of the globalists' worst nightmare. And who was the worst nightmare? That was Ratzinger, Pope Benedict, because he was against migration in Europe. He was against the climate change. He was against the China deal. He was against the mass UN Sustainable Development Goals. The entire New World Order agenda was being stopped by Ratzinger. Francis knew that. Obama, Biden knew that. Biden and Ted McCarrick are as thick as thieves. They have always been, and this needs to be uncovered. I believe that the receipts are in the National Archives Records Administration. Wow. I believe that we have to get to the bottom of it because, Steve, if we can show, which I've been saying since 2017, if we can show that this demon, this global sexual predator, and the Obama administration conspired to put pressure on Benedict, along with other governments, I'm sure, to step down and to put in place this globalist tool, McCarrick, then we have totally delegitimized the papacy of Francis. And interestingly enough, as I said, receipts are falling quickly. Yesterday, Archbishop Vigano, who we all know on the show, called for the CIA to investigate these charges. So we're going to have more on this, Steve. I have receipts with respect to what went on in 2013.
John Henry Westen, and by the way, I think it's not just the CIA investigate, but us investigate the CIA to find out exactly what happened. John Henry Westen from LifeSide News. How big a deal is this, sir?
Well, this is a huge deal because already in 2022, Archbishop Vigano had issued this. And Vigano is the one to know. Remember, before he came to the U.S. as the representative of the Vatican in the United States, he was in charge of overseeing internal operations at the Vatican itself. He was particularly noted there for his rooting out of financial corruption, which got him into trouble, which got him moved. Now, we already knew that right before Benedict retired, the SWIFT banking system shut down. Right after he resigned, it started working again. We also knew that the Podesta emails happened in 2012, right before. Remember, right now, we're in that time. Benedict gave his resignation on February 11th, and then it was official on February 28th. So we're right at this time of year in the midst of that time. And here, Vigano calls now for an investigation by the CIA, basically the releasing of documents. If they're going to release the Epstein files, they can at least release this. And as Liz just said, you will undermine the papacy of Francis, this nightmare for the whole church. If it could be shown that Benedict was forced to resign under pressure, that would invalidate his resignation and therefore invalidate the Francis papacy. So this whole joke of a papacy, which has so destroyed the Catholic Church in a way that was unfathomable before, would just be a blip, and people would understand, oh, that was fake. I thought so because it was so horrible. Otherwise, there's almost no way of understanding this papacy in light of Catholic teaching. But think about the timeline. You have the SWIFT banking system go down just before, reinstated just after Benedict resigns. You have the Podesta emails coming out in 2012 saying that, this is why we got these two fake Catholic groups going, Catholic United and the other group, so that there could be a Catholic springtime. And of course, Podesta, as the chief of staff to Clinton, as the counselor to Biden, he was the running Hillary's campaign, and then even under Biden, he's involved in the climate change office. Also, remember, right at the time when Benedict would have been considering his resignation, you had that Italian Panorama report about the NSA, the U.S. National Security Agency, listening in to Vatican conversations and emails and so on. That dropped from Panorama, showing that the NSA was involved in listening to the Vatican, what they were doing. And that's why Vigano is coming out now saying release the files.
Yeah. Hang over a second. Liz Yore, John Henry Westen from LifeSite News. On the other side, you're in the war room. People got to get realistic about this. And we got to start focusing on hemispheric defense. Hemispheric defense plays directly in line with what this story is coming out of the Vatican and Washington, D.C., and the capitals of Europe and Latin America. Because right now, the Pope is doubling and tripling down on support for open borders and really getting up in the grill of President Trump and the MAGA movement, and yours truly, this show, about our defense of the sovereignty of the United States and the territorial integrity of the United States. He's got a radical card, another radical card, not as bad as McCarrick. This guy's terrible. McCarrick was a demonic. And I know because I had personal interaction with him. I tell the guy just oozed evil. Liz Yore, where's this story going? We're going to have you guys on a lot because this is big. It's got Vigano. It's got the CIA. It's got NSA. It's got some deep, dark secrets of the American government, the globalists, and the deep state, ma'am.
Yes, Steve. As we know, federal grants have been the lifeblood of a bankrupt Catholic Church, and the one who made that happen was Ted McCarrick. He put it in motion. So this is a 1-2 punch we're requesting. One, that all these grants get audited. And frankly, Steve, you brought up a really good point. Why is Francis such in a frantic state about these grants being dismissed and defunded? I'm going to ask this question of OMB and Doge. Is 10% going to the big guy? I want to know that. And so do a lot of Catholics. Secondly, in this global coup that was, I think, orchestrated by Obama and Ted McCarrick to create a tool, a moral voice for the New World Order for globalism in the Vatican. You can't imagine a better dream come true for the globalists. We have got to get to the bottom of it, not only for the people in America and the Catholic Church, but the Catholic Church in China, who has gone underground and suffered terribly because of McCarrick and Francis.
It's disgusting. So your social media, where do people get you, ma'am?
Your Children is my website. I'm Elizabeth Yore everywhere, and I would encourage people to go to defundimmigrationngos.com, sign the petition. We've got to make this happen. We're going to get all the documentation to DOJ and to the administration, as well as the receipts with respect to the color revolution in the Catholic Church.
Amazing. Liz, we'll have you back on. Huge. John Henry, we only got a minute. Where do people go to get you at LifeSite News? I know you're working on this nonstop, sir.
Go to lifesitenews.com for everything. Our videos are up there because we're canceled everywhere else. You can also find us on X at LifeSite and then at JH Westen for my own. Right now, it's a very interesting time because Francis is near death. Everybody knows that right now. So there's all sorts of forces in the Vatican, and maybe some of those, the good guys, want to see this come to light so they can bring some sanity back into the church. So keep following us at lifesitenews.com.
Huge. Great reporting, John Henry, and we love LifeSite News. Thank you, guys. This is a big one. We'll be all over it with you, so thank you.